Hi, this is Phyllis with MFW, and welcome to another in my series of fundamentals issues in Feng Shui. Today we're going to talk about one of the more important adjustment tools in Feng Shui, the use of mirrors. Okay, so when we're trying to improve the Feng Shui of a space, we've talked about one of the first things we do is remove the clutter. And then after we've done that, take a look at the layout of a room so that we may want to move around some of the furniture and really try to maximize not only the function of the space, but the flow of energy around the space. Is it easy to get around? Those were two of the basic things that we talked about in previous videos, but today I want to talk about another option for improving Feng Shui, and that is the use of an adjustment tool and primarily the use of mirrors. Mirrors are known as the aspirin of Feng Shui, and that's because they're so versatile and we use them for a ton of different purposes. So there's very few Feng Shui practitioners that won't at least add one or two mirrors to a space when they're doing a consultation. Mirrors are powerful repellents of negative energy. They're great for busy streets where we have a window facing a busy street in a particular gua of the bagua that we use, and putting a mirror in the window with the reflection part of the mirror facing outward can help to slow down rapidly moving qi from your home. So let's say you live on a very, very busy street and it's a lot of traffic going past. Once you put that mirror in that window, it will repel some of that very high velocity, energy draining qi from being incorporated into your space and slow it down and repel it so that things are just a little bit more calm. I also use it if by any chance you have windows that are facing garbage cans or piles of garbage if you live in a multi-dwelling, so that you may want to, especially if your window is in your wealth corner and you're looking to maximize your wealth, the last thing you need interfering with your prosperity gua is garbage. So we use mirrors to, again, put the reflective portion of the mirror then facing outwards so that the negative dead energy and stagnant energy of garbage is then reflected away from your home, away from that space. Mirrors can also expand energy. We use them a lot to complete a gua or a bagua. If the house is an odd shape or the space is an odd shape, we can place a large, appropriately sized mirror on a wall in order to energetically push that space out to complete the bagua, and then of course open up that particular space as it corresponds to the places in your life. We also use it to attract energy into a space. Mirrors reflect light, so if we have some dark areas, it's great to maybe put a mirror underneath a lamp, especially if you have limited outlets, and you can use that to reflect the mirror and get an extra little boost from that light. It also gives a sense of spaciousness, and it's great for activating the flow of qi. So narrow hallways or a narrow entryway is where I use a lot of mirrors. I would take two mirrors of a particular shape, one on one side of the wall, one on the other side of the entryway, and when you walk in, then of course it seems much larger, and it will then expand the space and invite qi into the space. Very good for businesses that sometimes have narrow hallways that people need to walk into. So it's really important to use your mirrors effectively. You want to choose a clear mirror. Avoid any kind of distorted mirrors, mirrors with etchings on them, smoky mirrors. You don't want anything clouding your perspective. You don't want anything with ripples or anything that distorts the reflection. Nice, clear mirrors. You also don't want to use mirror tiles, and I know that they've been popular in the past, and sometimes they're a less expensive approach to putting a big mirror on a wall. But what it does is it cuts up the space, okay, so that each tile cuts up that reflection, and it can really add more confusion than a real positive therapeutic adjustment. So avoid those mirror tiles. You also want to avoid what is known as a concave mirror. So if you think of convex and concave, concave means that it caves in. All right, so that any mirror that is made in a way that it pushes in and is therefore reflective will suck energy into the mirror away from the space and deplete that energy. So by all means, you want to avoid any kind of concave mirrors. All right. We spoke about cleaning your mirrors frequently to ensure that you have a nice clear reflection, and also to make sure that you have a perspective on what's going on in your life, and you have some decisions to make. You want to have everything, your windows and your mirrors clean, so you can have get a good look at what you should be doing next or what's coming down the road. You want to make sure that your mirrors reflect something that's very beautiful, okay? So you position your mirrors so that they can reflect very pleasing views of any outside spaces or flowers or shrubbery, waterfalls, a pool, trees, anything, so that you're actually bringing the outside into your space. Again, balancing the outside and the inside, that yin-yang. Okay. If you're going to use a mirror in a foyer, you want to put it on one of the walls that's on the side of the front door. You would never put a mirror directly across from the front door, because it would literally repel everything that came in to that door, everything and everyone. So unless you're looking to live a very isolated life, no mirrors directly across from the front door. Okay, and then the height of the mirror is really important. You want to make sure that mirrors are large enough and hung appropriately so they're not cutting anybody's head off. Okay, so you need to have a mirror that's large enough and hung at a level where you're not decapitating anyone. If that's the case, then you need to adjust the heights of the mirrors that you've hung, because it really will have a negative effect on either your self-image or the other person's self-image, who's ever having their image split in half. Okay, we haven't spoken about the importance of the stove and what it represents in any of the previous videos, but the stove in Feng Shui it means prosperity. Okay, so that in ancient China, if you had the ability to always have a good fire going, it meant that you were always cooking and that you had plenty for everybody who came up to your camp, and it was a symbol of prosperity and wealth, and the stove has taken over that symbol in modern culture. So if what we're looking at really is how many burners are on a stove. So many people have very small apartments, and they may only have a 3-burner stove or a 2-burner stove, or they may have 4 burners, but the stove is very narrow. Mirrors are a great way to multiply the number of burners, or symbolizing, again, symbolizing more heat, more flame, ongoing flame on that stove, and increasing the prosperity and wealth of that particular area. So behind my stove, I not only have the back of the stove mirrored, but I have a little bit of the top portion of the stove underneath my microwave mirrored and tilted, and then the side panel by the side wall by my stove is also mirrored. So I don't have any kind of backsplash or anything like that around my stove. It's all mirrored, so that you not only see, I have a 5-burner stove, so you not only see the 5 burners, but it's multiplied by 5, multiplied another 5 by 1 set of mirrors, another 5 by a 3rd set of mirrors, and a 4th set of mirrors. So it's almost like having 30 burners. And you can imagine how that can influence then your abundance and prosperity and wealth. And remember, it's prosperity. Whatever you choose that means prosperity in your life. Prosperity of friends, prosperity of health, relationships, and of course, money. Okay, so if you cannot, for whatever reason, put a mirror behind your stove, then you should get something that's reflective. So, stainless steel kettles are also great to use. You can get a nice big stainless steel kettle, put that on one of the burners, and you'll see that the image is reflected, so that the burners multiply in the reflection of that stainless steel kettle. Okay, so while working in the kitchen, the cook should be in what is known as the command position, which means they shouldn't have their back to the doorway. And again, that's another reason why we use mirrors behind the stove, because it gives then ostensibly the cook the ability to see behind them in the reflection of the mirror. And that really is kind of making sure that you don't have anything creeping up on you, that you're always having a good 360 panoramic view of what's going on around you, and that you're not going to be whooped upside the head with a sudden surprise, especially when it has to do with money. Okay, the one room that you don't want to use a whole lot of mirrors in is the bedroom. Okay, so that, remember, the bedroom should be your sanctuary, and reflecting light and reflecting images can be very startling and unsettling, and really shuffle the chi in your bedroom, and we're really looking to create a sanctuary. So that's one of the places where you really don't want to have that many mirrors. All right, so if you have a mirror that's anywhere near your bed, move it. Okay, so that, you know, when you get up in the morning, the last thing you want to do is be able to look at a mirror first thing. Again, it's too startling, it upsets the whole flow of the day. So try to limit the amount of mirrors that you have. And if you do have mirrors that you can't move, try a little drapery or a nice little curtain over them. Just kind of soften the reflection a little bit so it's not as unsettling for that particular room. Again, that should be a sanctuary. Okay, hanging a mirror over your desk or your computer, if your computer or your desk, again, is facing a wall, is something that you want to do. Again, you don't want anything creeping up from behind you, so that this is especially important at work. There's a lot of things going on at work. You don't want anything to take you suddenly by surprise, so that you know, having, if you're not in a command, if your desk is not in a command position facing the door, you want to have a mirror so that you can see what's going on behind you. Okay, and then again, it's very reflective, so you can put a crystal on top of a mirror, a candle on top of a mirror, to get that extra energetic punch. Decorative mirrors are most effective, again, when they're placed in places that are going to reflect very beautiful images. They should never reflect flames in fireplaces. Okay, the mirror should go above the fireplace, not behind it. Not like if there's a couch and then you put the mirror behind the couch so that the mirror is reflecting the fireplace. Things can get very hot and heated in that particular area of your space, energetically, emotionally, and so on. So you do want to avoid that. You also don't want to reflect bills or anything else you don't want to see multiplied in your home. Okay? Use square and rectangle shapes to add balance to a space, octagonal shapes to add power, circular shapes for unity, you know, the circle of souls. Think about that, just uniting everybody. Chinese coin mirrors, those are mirrors that are round with a square in the middle. Again, mimicking the shape of a Chinese coin, are great for wealth areas to try to bring in prosperity. Okay? And then keep in mind that we're always trying to honor the 5 elements in Feng Shui, and those 5 elements are fire, earth, metal, water, and wood. Mirrors then represent water. They're reflective like water is, so that if you're really trying to balance wood elements, like you have a room that's got a lot of wood paneling or a lot of wood molding, a lot of wood furniture, and you're trying to balance that, using mirrors helps to add the water element to that space. Okay. Again, the most important thing here, we're talking about some mundane things to do with adjustment tools, mirrors, in this particular segment, but remember the transcendental piece of adding your intention onto what you're doing. You never want to make an adjustment or do anything to improve the feng shui of an environment if you're not putting an intention on that. And if you just can't come up with an intention, offer what you're doing up for the highest good and let the universe take control. Okay, so that's the end of this tutorial. I'll be coming with more tutorials as the year goes on. Again, if you have any questions, you can log on to my website, www.mfwconsultants.com, or you can email me at mfwconsultants@gmail.com. So, I hope you enjoyed this segment. Be careful about how you use your mirrors, all right, and keep them clean. And I honor the life force in each and every one of you. Omana Padme Hum.